Penguin Audio presents Then Everything Changed. Stunning alternate histories of American politics. JFK, RFK, Carter, Ford, Reagan. By Jeff Greenfield. Read by Jeff Greenfield and Michael Kramer.
Preface. A Simple Twist of Fate. On February 13, 1933, a man with a loaded pistol set out for Miami Beach's Bayfront Park, where a public event was in progress. Because he arrived a few minutes later than he had planned, he found his access to the event blocked by a crowd of people. So he climbed on a chair and pulled out his weapon, catching the attention of a spectator who jostled him as he prepared to fire. So Giuseppe Zangara did not kill President-elect Franklin D. Roosevelt, who went on to lead the United States through the Great Depression and World War II. What would have happened if FDR had not been able to steer his country through some of its most dangerous times? The United States would have been led by John Nance Garner, a Texas conservative whose political inclinations make the idea of a New Deal all but impossible to imagine. Would Garner, and the president who would have followed him, have shared Roosevelt's ardent internationalism, his determination to enlist the industrial might of the United States against Germany? While we cannot know the way this near miss would have played out, we do know, from this and countless other examples, that history is as much a product of chance as of the broader forces at play. Geography, topography, ethnicity, ideology, climate, natural resources, the search for wealth, mass migrations, all set the framework, but the random roll of the dice is as potent a force as any. A missed meeting, a shift in the weather, a slightly different choice of words open up a literally limitless series of possibilities. I have spent most of my working life in American politics, as a journalist, commentator, and analyst, and before that, a speechwriter, aide, and consultant. And I know that in my field, the near misses have happened with extraordinary frequency and with extraordinary consequences. Just in recent times, for instance, 4 presidential elections between 1960 and 2000 have come down to a relative handful of votes. A statistically insignificant shift would have given us Richard Nixon in 1960, Hubert Humphrey in 1968, Gerald Ford in 1976, and Al Gore in 2000. John Kennedy bluntly noted this fact early in his presidency, when he saw a Time magazine piece that called one of his aides coruscatingly brilliant. Said Kennedy, 50,000 votes the other way, and we'd all be coruscatingly stupid. So, what would have happened if small twists of fate had given us different leaders, with different beliefs, strengths, and weaknesses? I've tried here to answer that question by exploring, in dramatic narrative form, complete with characters, thoughts, and dialogue, a trio of contemporary alternate American histories, all flowing from events that came a mere hair's breadth away from actually happening. While these histories take us down radically different paths, I have tried to ground them in plausibility. The beliefs, actions, impulses, and core character traits of the major players are largely drawn from their own words, and from the judgments of the men and women who knew them well, as set down in memoirs, historical accounts, and oral histories. I have also conducted extensive new interviews with many key players and observers, including such distinguished men and women as Brent Scowcroft, Doris Kearns Goodwin, Richard Goodwin, Norman Ornstein, Joe Klein, top LBJ aide Harry McPherson, and many others. They are, of course, in no way responsible for the alternate histories recounted here. We begin with a fact that has gone almost completely forgotten. On December 11, 1960, a 73-year-old would-be suicide bomber named Richard Pavlik was parked outside the Palm Beach, Florida home of President-elect John F. Kennedy, holding in his hand a switch connected to 7 sticks of dynamite, enough to level a small mountain. His presence ignored by the Secret Service, Pavlik was, in the words of the agency's chief, seconds away from murdering the incoming President of the United States. Only Pavlik's reluctance to kill Kennedy in front of his wife and child, who had come...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?